Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Grid Talk podcast here on the Motorsport Magpie channel. Yes, it's Motor Magpie over here on Twitch, but we will be putting this video over onto YouTube. So, hello to our YouTube videos in YouTube viewers in delay, and hello to our Twitch viewers here live joining us for the podcast. First up, as you can see, it's Wajid. He's back. It's that way. He's there. He is. For some reason, Riverside, which I'm having arguments with at the moment, want to put us different sides each time. So, how are you, Wajid?
Yes, I'm good. I'm happy to be back to listen to the Dutch national anthem 40 times this week. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite a bit. First up, just for people joining in, if you're joining for the first time, welcome. If you're coming back for not the first time, but if you're coming back, thank you for rejoining us and not being bored last time. This time we will be talking about Zandvoort, but first we're going to have a little bit of a news section. I haven't got a clip thing for that, so we'll just have to pretend that we had one. But we've got the news, and the first bit of news that has come out today, literally about half an hour before this, is that Charles Schwartzman will be in the Ferrari for FP1 in Holland. The drivers at Ferrari were given a choice. So it'd be Carlos Sainz who misses out here at Zandvoort, because we have the situation where teams have to have a reserve driver in for FP1 every now and again, so
I believe it's like three. It's like 3 sessions over the year
two
or
two
something.
sessions, one for each car. This is the first one by a non-race driver, although obviously for McLaren, Williams, and AlphaTauri, Piastri, Sargent, and De Vries in Bahrain count as a rookie. So they've technically already done one. They've still got to fit another one in. But yeah, it's even harder now with all the sprint weekends, street races, special tyre applications. It's so much harder. So Ferrari has a bit more flexibility with Schwartzman because he's not going off to do F2 straight afterwards, which is probably why we're not seeing Ollie Behrman in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much it. So Robert will do Zandvoort in Carlos's car and probably Abu Dhabi in Charles's car, Fred Vasseur said. If you remember FP1 in Abu Dhabi last year, it was pretty much none of the grid testing.
Oh yeah,
It didn't really matter though.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
Obviously, Ferrari have brought up the idea that you can't do Singapore. Japan's a bit more difficult. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why you couldn't do Japan. To be fair, Las Vegas, because Japan you could sell your seat to a Formula Nippon, Super Formula driver, and chuck them in there. Like, for example, Red Bull. If you're sticking Liam Lawson in, perfect place because Lawson's over there. Also, sprint events. If you put them in for FP1, the driver gets no practice before qualifying. So that's Austria, Qatar out the way, and then different tyre allocations. So they want to stick. Vasseur's also said that he wants to stick with Schwartzman rather than give Behrman or Leclerc a chance because they're focusing on Formula 2. And they'll be testing 2021 cars, etc., before the end of the season. But he doesn't want their focus to go away from that. Wajid?
It doesn't really make the most sense in the world, that explanation, but whatever.
Well, yeah, but can you see Schwartzman working his way into a drive if he does do well? I can't see it. I think he's sort of missed his boat.
I think the only team that would allow sort of a quote unquote older driver to have a chance is Red Bull through their driver academy. With Mercedes and Ferrari, I think if you've not made it by sort of 20, you're going to different formulas. You have to maybe win an IndyCar or Formula E to maybe get the chance. But because but like for the likes of Red Bull, for example, they have a junior team. so they always test out in the junior team. Ferrari don't have them same level of strength partnerships. Yeah, Haas maybe, but Haas I think are now trying to push for they want an American driver in their car for one seat, which only leaves the other seat. So I don't see Schwartzman getting a drive.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
completely agree with you
sorry,
on that.
Drugovic won the F2 last year. He's not on the grid. Piastri won it 2 years ago. It's taken him 2 years to get on the grid. So this whole thing of oh well, if you win F2, you end up in Formula One. That's not the case.
Yeah, no, exactly true. And just having a look at any other things that have popped up over winter, it's been quite a quiet. I say quiet. Red Bull have continued to try and put a press release every couple of days, saying something or other. Still trying to defend Sergio Perez's seat for next season, but then saying Daniel's not too old for the seat next season. Kind of make up your mind, Christian. It's a bit of a mix up there in terms of your opinions, which is not normal. Uh, Going towards any other news, I honestly don't think there's a lot else. I mean, McLaren hit 60 years old.
I mean, there's the
Um,
court case. There's the court case with there's the court case with Palau and McLaren in regards to his contract.
yeah, for those who don't know, Alex Palau is an IndyCar champion over in America. Very controversial driver, I'd say. I mean, he was out in F3, FIA F3 that backs up the F1's career. Didn't really do a lot, let's put it that way. In F3, he wasn't great. Somehow ended up over in IndyCar and has hit the ground running. But about this time last season, he signed with well, it was kind of a Piastri situation. He was meant to have signed with McLaren. Chip Ganassi says, no, you haven't signed with McLaren. McLaren says, yes, you have signed with us. And then in the end, it was sorted that Alex Palau would stay at Chip Ganassi for a season before he went to Arrow McLaren. The rumour is now that, or the situation is now that Palau doesn't want to go to McLaren and has stated that he never signed a contract to go to McLaren. He just signed a testing contract to do some F1 testing. And that has been refuted by Zach Brown, who is signed so many contracts in the last 2 years, I don't know what, but he has said that he paid upfront part of the contract to Palau to make sure he joins Arrow McLaren. And Chip Ganassi are now saying Palau is a driver who is trustworthy with his contracts and that, and I'd believe him 100%, which is quite ironic considering last season you're telling him you've got to drive for us. We're back to 2005 with Jenson Button and Williams and
Yeah, we are.
Honda and BAR, aren't we?
BAR, yeah.
I mean, for those who don't know, Jenson Button, when he started his career at Williams, he went on loan to Benetton or Renault for 2 seasons and then was meant to go back to Williams. Never did. Literally never returned to Williams. But the rumours between 2007 up to 2007, I'd say, of Button going to Williams was just every week. And this thing with Palau, I think, I mean, I don't know about you, Adrian, but it sounds very much like Palau wants to go to the chance to go to Formula One, possibly with AlphaTauri, which is the kind of rumor that's going around. And if he goes to McLaren, he won't be allowed to do that. So it's a situation that he would have to break a contract, because if he goes to McLaren aren't going to loan him out to AlphaTauri, are they? So of all the teams in Formula One, that's not the team who just takes on a loan every now and again.
No, it's not. And I also think that if he doesn't get the chance to go into Formula One, he doesn't want to piss off Mr. Ganassi and his race team, because they're fairly dominant IndyCar. McLaren aren't the greatest in the car, so if he doesn't get into F1, he also still wants to be able to compete for the championship, for the for the Indy World Championship, rather than just be stuck in no man's land, which never with the whole IndyCar scene never makes sense. I understand why Montoya made the jump. Montoya went from a world championship car to another potential. Well, I mean, it should have been a world championship
Yeah,
car. We'll get into Adrian Newey's car being as reliable as a nuclear bomb. Um, so that I understand. Palau going from a championship winning car, potential championship winning car, to I'm gonna chill at the back. I'm going to chill at the back of the grid. It never makes it never makes sense to me. I understand sort of the marketing of F1 being the pinnacle and all that, but it's not like the IndyCar. It's not like winning the IndyCar championship doesn't come with its perks. Isn't a great title to have.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. I mean,
it's
look at
not.
Scott Dixon.
Yeah, it's like I'm how many times were Scott Dixon and Dario Franchitti and Dan Weldon, God rest his soul, linked to drives in F1, and they went, "We're happy here."
Yeah, no, it's very true. I'm just going to pop, if you are in the Twitch chat, I'll pop a poll in um, for Palau. Do you think he should go to F1 or IndyCar? Stay at IndyCar. Just be curious of people's opinions. So it's basically stay or leave. So it'd be interesting just to see what people say in that. But in terms of the whole saga of it, it's another contract dispute by McLaren. They had Piastri last year. They had, well, to put it this way, McLaren on their rota for doing testing in their old cars. They have Maroon.
Yeah,
I want to say that's his first name. I'm not going to try and say his second
you
name,
say second
but
name.
we all know him. You have De Lavara from Formula 2.
Yeah.
You have Mick Schumacher has a contract there to test the old cars.
Oh, with
You,
McLaren, yeah, because Mercedes lent him out.
yeah. You have Palau. You have Pato O'Ward. You
Oh,
have,
I forgot about Pato. All the hype from last year. He seems to be the indie forgotten man this year.
yeah. And what you've got to remember is McLaren have a lot of teams out there. Obviously, we'll ignore the GT teams. But let's just throw out that the idea that there's less. They've got so many different teams out there. Ignore the GT teams. They have also on their books from this week Sam Bird, out there, former Honda test driver. He is now at McLaren in Formula E. He's left Jaguar, and he will be teamed up alongside Jake Hughes, who was late to karting, but he's still such a good technical driver that, he might get a test at some point. You've got Felix Rosenquist, who is high on most team managers' ratings, but somehow never got the look of Formula One. And last but not least, Alexander Rossi. That
Still,
guy who did some Formula One.
still.
Everyone rated him really highly, and then he went off to Indy and won the Indy 500. And then everybody said he should come back to Formula One because he's good enough. Yes, he's still on McLaren's books. He still races for him in IndyCar. So there's questionable situations there where McLaren really need to. They
Look
actually
at their
have more
books.
drivers on their books than Red Bull, and that's saying something.
That's crazy.
And Red Bull are looking to, and I'm sure there's many, many more. I think Mika Hakkinen's still on my books as well, just in case he fancies coming back from that sabbatical. But yeah, so I think we're looking at the vote. It's 100% towards staying at IndyCar. That's no surprise. And it's just, yeah, it's just not. Why would you even think it? Why would you even think of going there?
And and YouTube, if you want to get involved in the Twitch chat when we're live, Motor Magpie on Twitch to get your votes in.
Yeah, yeah. Please come and join us, and we can try and do a bit more. I apologise if you have to put up with the ads that are probably just going on now, but hey, that's Twitch for you. We're going to move on, though. I don't think there's literally no more news.
I mean, no, Max Verstappen's in trouble.
Yeah, I was going to get onto that because in terms of Honda, in terms of Holland, Dutch Grand Prix, he ain't going to be charged, is he? Don't be silly. We've had junior drivers literally do worse down the main roads than he's done and not be charged. So at least he wasn't holding a phone himself. Yeah, Twitter. Sorry, not Twitter. X. Calm down. It's not going to happen. He's not going to be chucked in jail. He'd probably pay a fine, which the PKs can fine him.
Who thought he was going to get chucked? Who thought he was going to get chucked in jail? This is what makes no sense.
A lot of that website that is owned by a certain person.
People are stupid. He had a couple of driving offenses. It wasn't dangerous driving. It wasn't. You know, risk someone's life, morons.
Yeah, but anyway, he's not going to get sacked. He's still going to be at Red Bull, so we can forget and sort of brush that into the past. I don't see that changing. So Twitter, I'm going to call you Twitter because it sounds better than X. Twitter, just calm down a bit. Calm down. It's not going to happen. I know some of you still want it with Abu Dhabi 21, but just calm it down. Anyway, it's only took us 37 minutes to say Abu Dhabi 21. Anyway, we will move on. That is a new record. We're going to move on to Zandvoort. For those who don't know much about Zandvoort was opened 75 years ago on the 7th of August, 1948. So, yeah, it's just over 75 years old now as a circuit. Hosted many different types of racing throughout its time, including Formula 3 was a big one. It used to have a Formula 3 festival years ago, which was won by many drivers, including our very own Lewis Hamilton at one point. It was the Masters of Formula 3. Just having a look through the Formula winners around this circuit. Obviously, it changed a little bit. Bear with it. It did change a little bit. And it had a couple of years it was older as well, which was a bit of a random choice. But in terms of Zandvoort, we had Coulthard, Jos Verstappen won it in 1993. Alberto Fontana. Now, there's a name from the past. Takuma Sato, Christian Klein.
This wasn't as an F1 race, just
no F3 race.
Yeah, F3 race.
Lewis Hamilton, Paul di Resta, Valtteri Bottas won it twice, and Max Verstappen won it in 2014. Just before Antonio Giovinazzi won it, with the last one running in 2016, won by a Joel Eriksson, who I think went off to Formula E for a little bit, but that was the Formula 3. The last race there in Formula 3 was, the Joel Eriksson one, but Callum Ilott was on pole that day, and the fastest lap won Guan Yu Zhou, or Zhou Guan Yu. I will get it right way around, but just write it the wrong way around on the screen. The circuit now is 14 turns, 4.259 kilometers in length, and has had a few recent adaptations like the banked corners. But I've got to say, personally, people say different circuits like Hungary or Monaco without the barriers. This is Monaco without the barriers.
I think I absolutely agree. This circuit is much worse than Hungary to overtake. I think this circuit, this quote unquote race circuit, with these current incarnations of the modern F1 cars, being on pole is more important than every other race aside from Monaco. Hungary, you still got the straight to overtake. Zandvoort's really, I, yeah, you got the bank, and it's a long straight. If you position your car correct, unless you've got ridiculous sort of overspeed like Max on the Red Bull, no one's overtaking anyone. I think is definitely one of the more boring races of the season, unless there's a safety car or 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 a red flag. To be perfectly honest,
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, the safety car tried to spice things up a little bit last season to put everyone close together. Even though Lewis Hamilton was looking at being the winner last season if it had gone, so hopefully he'll be able to go as well round here. One circuit in Formula One he hasn't won on.
do you think the Mercs would have got the win last year if it wasn't for the safety car?
It depends. It depends how quickly Max would have been able to catch up. Lewis had a lot of pace, to be fair.
Oh, and sorry, I totally forgot. Last year was the conspiracy race, wasn't it?
It was, which we'll get onto in a minute because it will be which AlphaTauri driver will break down because Daniel Ricciardo won't want to, but then he does. They both have eyes on Sergio Perez's drive, so you never know. But it is also one of them circuits which I will be honest likes its sponsorship corners for a commentator. There is only really Tarzan that is known at turn one. But near the end of the lap, you've got the former Marlboro corner, the former Renault corner, the former Vodafone corner, former Audi S corners, former Kumo corner, and Boss Unit corner. They like their sponsorship over there in Holland, and luckily most of them have changed. But there is actually 3 nameless corners on this circuit, so
So if you maybe if we had enough money, we could sponsor one of the corners one day.
yeah, the motorsport, the grid talk corner.
The
That's
grid
actually got
talk
quite a
corner.
nice ring to it. Maybe there'll be a P1 corner because Matty and Tommy are over there at the moment. Hello, guys, if you are watching, which I'm sure you're not. But yeah, it, it, it's a it's a track which can be good in terms of racing in lower formulas. But I'll be honest, I don't see it ever being a really good race. And I see it being there not due to the history, but Max Verstappen. That's the only reason.
We need for this race to work. You need the 2012 cars.
Yes.
You know the small. If we if we were racing with those much smaller cars, I think this is a much better race. With these big, heavy, aero-based cars, it's just not the one. Especially with the ICEs and all that stuff. It's not the one.
Yeah, well, in the former layout of the circuit, the Formula One lap time was a 1:21.044. That's by Klaus Swart, who is a Euroboss driver. That was set in 2019, just before banked corners all come in, and Jaguar R5. He was also the previous owner of Schumacher's Benettons and things like that. Now, the fastest lap is an 11.0. That's 10 seconds quicker, literally 20 to 10 seconds quicker now because of this slightly shorter layout. I don't think it's that much, but also obviously showing how far the cars have come. So we look towards the Grand Prix and who is it important for? In terms of the actual championship, it's not important. We know at the moment, like Wajid had previously pointed out, which isn't in the podcast because he started talking beforehand. Actually, go on, Wajid. We'll let you do your spiel now. Go
No,
on.
it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. The moment's gone.
How
It's okay.
much does Max Verstappen lead by then?
125 points.
Yeah. Just to add that in, if he had that gap as his score, he would be fourth in the World Championship.
No, he'd be fifth.
Well, yeah, but you'd take him out, wouldn't you?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, my bad.
I mean, he's good, but he ain't two car good.
He's it's just levels in it. This year it's just levels.
Yeah.
He's won with the machine. The machine's working perfectly for him, and unfortunately, it's looking like this world title might be tainted with with another with another cost cap breach.
Yes, we will talk about the cost cap breach in. We were hoping it was going to come up in this summer break, but it doesn't seem to have done so. So we've got to hold off on that one just now. It is allegations. We stress to say, but it looks like it's true.
But there will be, as soon as the cost cap does come out, there will be like a special edition
Yeah.
of the podcast that will probably get out. We'll try to get out like within the hour that the
Yeah,
release is good.
we'll try and come live. To be fair, but it'll just depend on when they decide to announce it. Because we know what Formula One are like. They'll leak it just at the most inconvenient times.
But yeah, so Max is 125 points clear. I mean, the real battle at the moment is for second, third, and fourth between Checo, Fernando, and Lewis.
Yeah.
I don't think the gap it's grown a bit, but I don't think the gap's that big between all three. There's only a 2 point gap between Lewis and Fernando, which, to be honest, I think Lewis is going to overtake. I think Lewis is going to end up third by the end of the weekend. Because I've not heard anything about Aston bringing any upgrades, unless you have.
No, but I would say they're very quick around Monaco.
Yeah, but Monaco was they were supposed to be quick around Hungary, and look what happened.
True. Just looking back at last year's race, we know the safety car sort of stretched things out a bit, but Lewis finished fourth. George Russell was second after that sort of controversial tyre call because of the driving through pit lane and deciding to pit with a safety car. Only two retirements, Yuki Tsunoda, we know about, and the disappearing Valtteri Bottas, who probably needs to reappear to make sure that contract is sound for next season. But it was one of them races where you just went, yeah, it got exciting for part of it, and things looked like happening before that retirement. So
So up until the safety car, it's probably one of the better Zandvoort races because it was
yeah,
genuinely looking like because at the time Max had to get past both Mercs, and I think George Russell would have made it difficult for Max to get past. But then the safety car, I think people can talk about conspiracies all they like and stuff. It it yes, no, it may have been, may not have been. There'll never be enough proof to
no,
suggest otherwise. But it was a shocking decision regardless, because everyone knew that car had broken, and for AlphaTauri to say, yeah, go back out,
yeah,
and for him to conveniently park literally after the first bank of corner, like
yeah,
straight after the pits. And then George made the call himself, which essentially left Lewis hang up. That essentially is what left Lewis out to dry, because Lewis hadn't pit, George did pit, and Max ended up romping away to victory. I believe the top three. Verstappen, George, was it Sainz? I believe, who finished in third.
yes, I
Okay.
think so. I will just double check that. But it wasn't the worst Grand Prix in the world, as we said. Yeah, it's Charles Leclerc who
Sorry,
finished
yeah,
third.
I buy it.
So
It was one of the Ferraris.
yeah, Sykes finished down in eighth actually. I don't know if he maybe tried to stay on the hard tyre, or the harder tyre like Lewis did. But we look at this weekend. It's important for a number of drivers. We're now getting into contract terms and what is best for the future for people driving next year. So first up, we have a look at obviously Max Verstappen away and clear. Sergio Perez, he is 40 points clear of Fernando Alonso, who is 1 point clear of Lewis Hamilton. So that's a battle for second in the championship, unless somebody puts out a stupidly good run of results. The next up we have is Charles Leclerc and George Russell, equal on points, both 7 points clear of Carlos Sainz. So a battle there, which Well, about 25 points back is Lando Norris. We could see Lando Norris coming into that fight, especially considering how well the McLaren's going recently.
And yeah, I mean, it rolls up to circuits, and I want to say it's the second quickest car on the grid. Everyone has talked about the straight line speed and how slippery it is in a straight line. Um, and I think he's more likely to catch both Ferraris than George just because of the Ferrari strategy more than anything else. I
Yeah.
don't trust it's Ferrari strategists. I don't trust. It's not. I'd trust the Mercs more. Um, what do we got to do? Are we go to Zan? Is Zandvoort then it's Monza next, isn't it?
It's just bringing up the calendar. It's Zandvoort, Monza, Singapore, Suzuka.
If he's within 10 points by Monza, then I think he overtakes all of them.
Yeah, I mean, McLaren went. So it's a bit of time. So we've got to remember that they were really running well in Hungary, finishing second. Didn't make Spa was a bit of a strange one, but Hungary in the fast corners, Britain in the fast corners, Austria they always go well in, so we kind of ignore that one. Zandvoort has a lot of long fast corners, so very similar to sort of the change of direction you get at Silverstone. That McLaren could be very handy around Zandvoort, and especially if it can't be overtaken, so if it can qualify well. Looking a bit further down the standings, for next up, it's a battle between Stroll, Ocon, and Piastri. Pierre Gasly, just off the back of that, if he could get himself a really top result, he could be in that battle. But realistically, we're only looking at one of them four possibly being under threat as a drive, and they're not because Daddy owns the team.
Yep, pretty much.
And you'd expect a bit more from kind of Alpine and people like that. Next up, you got Albon, Hulkenberg, Bottas, and Joe, and then Tsunoda, Magnussen, Sargent, De Vries, and Ricardo. There's rumours that this could be the best result best chance for Ricardo to have a really top result for coming back because of it being such a sort of, shall we say, a driver's track.
Yeah, brake heavy circuit.
So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But because I mean, we all forget this. We've had a couple of Zandvoort races since we're back. Max obviously going really well, but AlphaTauri have gone pretty well around here before. So Pierre Gasly finishing fourth in 2021.
Max has won every incarnation of the current Zandvoort racetrack.
Yeah, kind of expected though, isn't it? Also, if any fans going to a Dutch Grand Prix, any fans will go into a Dutch Grand Prix this weekend. The Dutch officials have come out with a statement. Please don't take your flares. Please. I mean, we had this the first year. They couldn't see where they're driving. Second year, everyone behaved until the checker flag was out, and then the flares started. So hopefully this year we can have some sensibility.
But look, I understand the checkered flag thing. I kind of understand, but yeah, during the race is stupid. But they're not going to listen. There still will be flares.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think it's whoever the circuit employs as security. I think they need to do a much better job at finding the flares more than anything else. Fans aren't going to stop. Fans aren't going to stop taking flares to events and things like that. So do a better. So your security. That's what the security details pay to do. They have to be doing a much better job at at stopping the flares, even when they've got the guards within on the stands as well and stuff like that. Do your job, and bear in mind the security details at circuits is nothing to do with the FIA or Liberty Media, anything like that. It is the actual circuit's responsibility for who they employ as their security for the weekend. So it's literally down to the Zandvoort organizers.
Yeah, we will also throw out there that you think about the security of the place. They've literally given Just Stop Oil a place at the Grand Prix to do the protesting, and they've still managed to block the entrance. I mean, you've gone stand there and you can protest. They've gone over there, and the security's like, yeah,
It wasn't
fancy
just up.
that.
It wasn't just up while it was the Extinction Rebellion.
Oh, was it extension? Well, it's a combination of
It's
the
one of
same group.
it's one of the psychopaths.
Yeah. So it's kind of like they're not over there; they're over there. What do we do? Oh, look, they glued themselves to. Okay. Anyway,
Those pictures made me laugh so much because you had a picture of the Red Bull lorry and these 5 people that they couldn't, and the security just stood there going, "Oh,
yeah. What do we do about them? That was a great impression of a Dutch accent security guard. Please don't sue me. As always, we do also give our opinions, which will come at the very end because we have to give our top 3 for qualifying race and our randoms, which
not opinions, predictions, my friend, predictions."
predictions, opinions. But I think this could be a good weekend for. It's slightly in my mind for Haas. I think if they can qualify well, it's going to be hard to get past them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the way the way the Haas choose up the tires, they have to qualify. They have to qualify well. Um, I think K Mag's under a bit of pressure given the way Hulkenberg has been qualifying in the same car.
Yeah.
Yes, they both dropped like stones in the race, but qualifying, Hulk's really stepped up. Let's see if he carries that form to Zandvoort on Saturday qualifying Sunday race. But yeah, I think shall we get into that? I mean, to be honest, let's just get into the predictions.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly on your Haas point, we did rate Hulkenberg a B/C and K-Mag a D this season. So that video is coming. It is. That halftime report is coming. It just takes a lot of editing. And with 2 kids running around, it's not all glamour here. We're going to be
in your. I thought you were in the Monaco Hills.
Do you think I'd have these curtains if I was in Monaco Hills?
Yeah, nothing wrong with them curtains.
Yeah, true. They were picked by my daughter. No, they weren't actually. They were up before she was even born. Anyway, qualifying 1, 2, 3. Race 1, 2, 3. And our 3 random choices. So I think with the honour of being on the right-hand side of the screen for absolute no reason, and if you're watching on YouTube, I'll be on the left-hand side of the screen. I'll go first. I just realised we were going to be swapped over when we actually do the video. I'm going to go Max on pole position.
God, what a shock.
What a shocker. I'm going to go Lewis Hamilton. No, I'm going to go Max, Lando, Lewis.
I am going Max, Charles, Checo. No, actually, I forgot Checo's capability. I'm going Lando.
Lando in third.
Yes, please.
Okay. So we'll now move on to race. Obviously, anything could happen in race. You know, we could have a massive surprise. So as that is in mind, I am going to go Max. I'm going to go Max, Lewis, Max, Lewis, Checo.
I am going Max, Checo, Charles.
You got some faith in Ferrari, ain't you?
I have faith in Charles Leclerc, not Ferrari.
So, as always, three random choices. We haven't spoke to each other beforehand, so first, so just to remind you all of them very choices, we have um, Max Lando Lewis for my qualifying, Max Charles Lando for Wadget's, Max Lewis Checo for my race. Yeah, Max Lewis Checo for my race, Max Checo Charles for Wadget's race. So it's very similar names. Not much, no surprises there. But I am going to go for my first choice. I'm going to go for my first choice, Nico Hulkenberg in top 8 of qualifying.
Balls, I was going for that. I'm gonna go Alex Albon into Q3.
Interesting. I'm going to go for who else could do really well this weekend? I tell you what, I'm going to go because they're bringing out what is a lovely art car livery, which won't be raced, which is stupid anyway. But Alfa Romeo, I'm going to go for Valtteri Bottas to score points.
I'm going for there to be 3 full safety cars.
3 full.
Yeah.
Well, you can't really have a half one round in
Well, not
Zandvoort
VS
anyway.
I meant VS.
Yeah, but you can't have VSC around Zandvoort because they don't have any roads around it. It's all beach. And finally, for me, let's go for a nice simple one. Let's go Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton to be ahead of Fernando Alonso in the championship by the end of the race.
Someone wants his points this week.
Yeah.
I'm going. What am I going to go for the last one?
Which obviously with mine means that Fernando will be beaten by Lewis in the race.
Of course, yeah.
Because there's no other way.
What am I going to go for? I'm going to go for Max gets a clean sweep this weekend.
So when we say clean sweep, what are we saying?
I'm saying...
Are you saying pole fastest lap victory? Are you saying FP1, FP2, FP3?
No. I'm saying Q1, Q2, Q3 fastest lap race.
So Q1, Q2, Q3 fastest lap race. I was about to say you've missed pole off that, but if you quickest in Q3. Yeah. So that is our Holland predictions. If there's any predictions you've got and you want to pop them in chat, feel free and we can evaluate them afterwards. If you're watching on YouTube, pop them down in the comments below. Also, try and give us a subscribe on YouTube and also on Twitch, and click that like button and the notification bell if you want more of this coverage. Because we need to get that YouTube algorithm running along quite nicely.
We will be back. And then we'll be back on Monday for the review show.
Yep.
We're going to be going live more on Twitch for our previews and reviews. As we've said many times this year was just a test run for us in terms of getting everything sorted and things like that. Next year, hopefully, will be a lot more efficient and a lot more clean. So
I will hold my hands up to a little bit of that, because that's actually my anxiety condition biting back at me. So actually, me getting videos edited takes a little bit longer than the normal human being. I am a
no,
human being, just to make that clear.
no, no, it's nothing. There's nothing to do. It's from both of our parts in terms of timing and life getting in the way and things like that. We've not
Life?
been.
What's life?
There's we have lacked the consistency, so we apologize. But as I said, as we said when we started this back in what February,
Yeah.
this was all just a massive test run for this year to get in the groove for more consistent and high quality content next year. So, but thank you for joining us on the journey, and I'll let Mr. Magpie sign out.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is we are using pretty much every week we're finding a new piece of technology or whatever to help us work it out. Today we're using Riverside on here, which will record all our details and put them onto YouTube, or help us put them onto YouTube through Premiere Pro. So I thank Riverside for that. I also don't thank you because you're fucking awkward to deal with, but we'll sort that one out. I also want to thank Wajid. He gives his time up every week to come and help us do this podcast, even though he is in jobs, out of jobs. Yeah, you've got a contract at the moment, haven't you, for a
Yeah,
period of time? So,
yeah.
um,
I currently have a contract till the end of the year for work. So this was my super extended lunch break, and I'm gonna get straight back into work for a bit.
yeah, and so obviously that really does, we've got to appreciate that help, and anybody else who has come along, shared all the discords, etc., who share this link out as well. But there's not a lot more we can say. That's going to be it for now. I don't know why my hand keeps going like that, but I thank you all for being here. We will stay live on Twitch just for that little bit longer once we've finished the video. And then if you want to see us next time, come over to Twitch, Most Magpie. If you want to continue watching us on YouTube, subscribe over there. And also anything that is like subscriptions or bits or whatever on Twitch, they all go towards us paying for this to run. Basically, none of it goes into a back pocket, shall we say?
None of it goes anywhere except
Yeah, we haven't
covering.
got some secret Swiss bank account.
Yeah, not
Um,
yet.
Not yet, no. But Wajid, as I said, yeah, Wajid, thank you for being here
Thank
and
you for having
helping
me.
us out. And we will see you all next time for we'll see you all next time for the Dutch Grand Prix review, where we'll be talking about yet another Max Verstappen victory. Come on, we've got to be serious.
Yeah, that's true.
So for now, it is goodbye.